first thing it says on my program is turn on the mic. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you here. So, I'm Charles McClymans. I'm the president-elect, standing in for President Paul Hoffman, who is somewhere at the Rotary International Conference right now in Melbourne, Australia. So, oh, you're clapping that Paul's gone? I'm going to tell him. Today's meeting is sponsored by Jason Belangi and Access to Independence. Jason's been a member of the club. Yeah, thank you, Jason. Jason's been a member of the club since 2021 and is executive director of Access to Independence, which now provides accessibility consultation services for businesses and organizations. Jason has been a speaker at our Rotary Club and is active with our DEI and Ethics Symposium committees. Our thanks to Jason and to the Access to Independence organization for their support of today's luncheon. And now we will recite our four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Remain standing for our opening patriotic song. Angela Bartell will lead us in singing God Bless America with Jeff Bartell on the keyboard. Then Angela will lead us in singing our featured song, Downtown. And I think we have another guest artist joining. Jason Ilstrup will join, since he is Mr. Downtown.
Sing! God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white we fall. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Be seated, please. In 1974, the international hit Downtown was recorded by Petula Clark. Everybody remembers her voice, no doubt. Petula Clark's producer wrote and produced that song to great success. It's also been recorded by other artists, including Dolly Parton. Do you want to play the part of Dolly Parton?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be Dolly.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown. Listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, and go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. No finer place for sure. Downtown, everything's waiting for you. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Hey.
We'll see you all downtown.
Yeah.
Well done.
After all, we are the Rotary Club of Madison, otherwise known as the Downtown Club, right? And now our guests will be introduced by past president and past district governor, Rob Stroud.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have a number of guests today, so for the benefit of the guests, would you please stand when your name is read and remain standing, and we'll welcome you as a group. Sagar Awate is a guest of Paul Reinman. Adam Heffron is a guest of Wes Sparkman. Both Creighton and Tony Quinto are a guest of Ashley Quinto Powell. Chelsea Schultz is a guest of Melanie Ramey. Wendy Weiler is a guest of Jason Bologna, and past member of our club and visiting Rotarian, a guest of Charles McClymans, is Jenny Stevens. These are our guests today. Welcome.
Thank you, Rob. Now, as you know, we're in the midst of our Rotary International Foundation campaign, and Linda O'Hearn chairs our International Foundation campaign. She's going to give us an update. Linda?
Hello. We're going to give you an update and a nudge after this short video. Take it away, Jane. That would note your donation today. Thank you. That's a really good reminder of all the good that Rotary does in the world, and thanks to all of you who have contributed. Here's where we are in the final 2 weeks of our foundation campaign. We've received contributions of $30,981 to date, and that's been donated by 116 Rotarians. So we're at 70% of goal, and that leaves 72% of you who are still out there to make up that 30%. And I know you'll get there. And that brings me to my middle name, procrastination. To document that, I want you to know that I wrote this little thing at 10:30 this morning. If you haven't given yet, I'm assuming you're a procrastinator like me. So to shake that nasty habit, right now, write a check or send the office your credit card number, and then you cannot be a procrastinator anymore, at least about this. The world thanks you.
Thank you, Linda. Linda mentioned it was 116 Rotarians. I want to let you know that one of them was a non-Rotarian. As a matter of fact, we had a guest last week, the guest to Brian Chan. His name was Mr. Floyd Newsom, and he had spent time in Guatemala. And he was so moved by Gary Tree's presentation on Guatemala that he pulled some money out of his wallet and donated to the campaign here and on the spot. So we do take cash, checks, credit card, Bitcoin, we'll take it. All right? Thanks for that update. Next, we have Rob Vandenberg is going to come up. He's a co-chair of a Rotary Scholar Mentoring Committee, and he's going to tell us about this year's Rotary Scholarship Luncheon, which is coming up next week.
Thanks, President-elect Charles. At next week's Rotary meeting, we will celebrate the 2023 Madison Rotary Scholars. Each of these graduating high school seniors will get a scholarship from Rotary from our foundation, ranging from $1,000 to $15,000 per year for a 4-year commitment. Our total allocation this year is $106,000, and that'll continue each year through the 4 years. So that's $426,000 that we're donating or that we're supporting this year's 25 Rotary Scholars. We have over 100 Rotary Scholars in college right now. And as we send a new group to college, we have a new group graduating from college this year. Our Madison Rotary Foundation is making an incredible difference as we help these students fund their college education. And, how can we do this? Well, it's because of the foresight of Rotarians who have come before us. Harry French, former president of our club, established a scholarship program back in 1973. with a $500,000 gift from his estate. Other estate gifts were received in the years after. And in 2003, Nate Brand, a 40-year member of our club, started the first living donor fund, and others did so as well in the years that followed. So we now have 17 named scholarship funds, including current members. And if you are in the audience and have set up one of these funds, please stand. Is Regina Milner here? Thank you very much for your generosity. Perry Henderson, who established the fund along with his wife Virginia, who passed away in 2019. Marv Levy, along with his family, including member Phil Levy, who passed away last year. And Dick Goldberg. I don't know if I see Dick here or not. There he is, down there. Thank you. In 2008, our Synergy Scholar... In 2008, our Synergy Scholarship Fund was established. All Rotarians can contribute to our scholarship program by giving to the Synergy Fund with any amount. So you don't need to get to a certain threshold for that. And when you round up your birthday contribution, it goes to the Synergy Fund as well. If you'd like to make any additional gift to the Synergy Fund, we have envelopes on the back table. All gifts are cumulative, so whenever a member reaches the $50,000 level, they can create their own scholarship fund. In fact, we'll hear about one of these donors who just did that last week. Our first Synergy Scholarship Award was in 2009 when the value of the fund reached the required $50,000 for a named fund. The Synergy Fund now has a value of $440,000. This year, our Synergy Fund is generating scholarship amount of $20,000 that's paid out over 4 years. And that is making a huge difference to the student that's receiving that scholarship. There is an incredible amount of talent and energy with each scholarship we give. Your gift counts when you round up your birthday gift or make an additional gift today or any time during the year. And thank you to all of you who contribute. I hope also that you'll attend our luncheon next Wednesday, May 31st, when we'll meet a really impressive class of 2023 scholars. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Rob. We've got a couple of announcements from our Community Projects Committee. Our Community Projects Committee is seeking volunteers to help out on Friday, June 16th from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. at Way Forward's Distribution Center in Middleton. For those of you who haven't heard of Way Forward, it used to be known as MOM, Middleton Outreach Ministries. They changed their name just recently. There are flyers at the back table that you can pick up if you'd like to help on June 16th. And our Community Projects Committee is also exploring the idea of scheduling a mobile blood drive through Impact Life for a Wednesday this summer. Before they schedule it, however, they would like to get an idea of how many members would like to give blood or would give blood at the mobile unit. We have an interest sign-up sheet at the back table, and please add your name if you would be willing to consider it. It isn't a firm commitment, but we'd like to gauge your interest. They like to, I spoke with the woman who runs this, who's the regional director recently, and they said if they could get 10 units, they would consider that a success for one of their blood drives. So they have a shortage in the Midwest. And so we used to have a fellowship group called the Vampire Society, didn't we? That you'd get a makeup if you gave a pint of blood. But so if we think we could help them out, please sign up so we would know that it would be worth their time to come here for a mobile blood drive. Thank you. And we have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor or wisdom that complements Rotary's mission. We also encourage members to make a gift to our foundation's Community Grants Endowment Fund that represents their age, rounded up to 100 for our Synergy Scholarship Fund. On May 21st, it's Bob Calder who shares this quote from Lou Holtz. "Never tell your problems to anyone because 20% don't care and the other 80% are glad you have them." May 23rd, Ashley Quinto-Powell. Happy birthday, Ashley. May 24th, Amber France. May 25th, Nancy Young. May 26th, Marv Levy. May 26th, Ellie Schatz. May 26th, Julie Swenson, and May 27th, Mark Laufman. Thanks to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation, and please join me in singing them happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Rotarians, happy birthday to you. Great. Thanks, everyone. And we have members in the news also. Rhonda Adams was quoted in a Wisconsin State Journal article about Dane County's investment of $1.5 million to help build a larger facility for the River Food Pantry. Julie Bennett was pictured and quoted in an article about St. Vincent de Paul offering microloans. That was in the Cap Times. InBusiness.com announced a May 18th community event unveiling Middleton Outreach Ministries' new name, Way Forward Resources, and Ellen Carlson and Renee Moe were in attendance at that event. Congratulations to Paul Fanland, who won the Silver Award in the Best Column category in the Milwaukee Press Club's annual Excellence in Wisconsin Journalism Contest, Cap Times. Letitia Nelson was quoted in a Wisconsin State Journal article about the Goodman Center providing at-home Meals on Wheels program. Ann Newhow Morrison was pictured and quoted in an article titled, "She was a very special lady with ribbon-cutting ceremony, Muriel's Place, officially open for business, Madison 365. And congratulations to Janet Pirino, who received the Wisconsin Women in Government's Legacy Award on May 17th for her contributions to local, state, and national government. Congratulations, Janet. And James Tye was mentioned in an article on a resolution presented at the Madison Common Council to honor and recognize the late Leslie Watkins for her contributions to the great Madison community, Madison 365. All right, on with our program. We have some special guests here today. Today our program will feature an introduction to what wheelchair dancing and adaptive dancing offers for para-athletes and individuals seeking to participate in dance with any ability, and how it can empower an individual with a disability beyond the dance floor. I'll now introduce our three speakers, and I will start with Martha Siravo, who sustained a spinal cord injury in a car accident in 2002. She has participated in wheelchair rugby and is a bronze student wheelchair ballroom dancer at the Brookfield Fred Astaire Dance Studio. Autumn Neugent was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2009. She has participated in adapted cross-country, downhill and water skiing, sled hockey, martial arts, and wheelchair ballroom dancing. Arthur Sigmund started dancing 6 years ago. He had a very successful collegiate career over the years in different competitions, and 4 years later started at Fred Astaire in Brookfield, and has been a Fred Astaire Regional Open and Closed Smooth finalist and Country Western vice champion. We look forward to their presentation and demonstration, and we've made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way of saying thanks for speaking with us today. I also wanted to mention that questions will be taken during the program. We're going to we have a mic out there for the participants, and so let's welcome Martha, Autumn, and Arthur as our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you all for having us here with you today. We just want to go through a few things that we have done with wheelchair dancing, some demonstrations that we've done. Once again, I'm Arthur. I'm one of the professional dancers at the Brookfield Fred Astaire Studio. We started wheelchair dancing in 2019 in Wisconsin when dance mobility came before the pandemic happened. And we kind of got some people jump-started. That's where we met Autumn and Miss Siravo here.
Hi, I'm Martha Siravo. I'm actually from Madison, but I do train in Brookfield because that's where it started, and I just can't replace Arthur. So we're stuck together for a while. I have a 10-year-old daughter who is an MMSD, and I do a lot of work in the community here with Manta Moms and disability advocates as well. So dancing is actually, that's like my highlight of dealing with all the other stuff of maybe what life kind of throws at us sometimes, and it's a place where I can focus on joy and just being me and looking at life in a different direction than what disability sometimes makes us kind of focus in on what we can't, and dancing says what we can.
Well said. My name is Autumn Neugent. Hello, thank you for having us. What? Okay. I am not very good with a microphone. I'm used to just yelling. So I am the secretary and treasurer for Wheels and Heels, and I cannot wait to share with you all what I have gotten to experience being a part of this. I am restarting my journey with wheelchair ballroom dancing. I first experienced it back in 2019 when I was Ms. Wheelchair Wisconsin, and I'm going to pass it back to Martha, and she will explain a little more. Thank you.
So the reason we're here today is because Wheels and Heels is something I started last year because I really felt for paradancers. What are the struggles? Why don't we see them in shows and out in the community? And I just really dove into all those questions. And I'm slowly navigating all the spaces along with Arthur, who gets to give us the pro side and the teacher side of things and studio. And then Autumn, who does a lot with the community and a more like a equity perspective. And because every disability is different, it's good that we look at things in a few different ways amongst ourselves. So we put together something, this is Dance at a Glance, really highlighting what we did in 22, and we're going to overflow a little bit into what we're doing in 2023. We are going to start off, though, with a demo. I'm told Jane had us a volunteer somewhere.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll help you. I'm a really good teacher. Volunteer, anybody? There we go. We got a hand. Thank you, Jeff. Have you dance to Miss Autumn here. So what we want to kind of show you guys is basically how do we incorporate ballroom dancing with paradancers. So first thing we do is we talk about our frame. So we're going to just take our partners by the hands here, almost like we're holding 2 glasses of water. And all we're going to do kind of start things off is kind of go forwards and backwards. So what we want to do is make a nice strong connection with our partner and just keep the chair ideally going just straight backwards. Find a nice spot. And then we'll bring the dancer forwards. Very nice. Now from here, we're going to then turn to the right. So we're going to open up our right side here and just turn the chair to their right. And then we're going to switch hands and turn to the left. Very nice. And come back to center. So everything we do in paradancing just comes around those basic 4 elements, going forwards, backwards, turning to the left, turning to the right. The biggest safety tip for anything we do, any kind of cool tricks and things we do in paradancing, which we'll see a little bit later, we always want to keep the paradancer's hand in front of them. So we kind of do any kind of underarm turns. This is for safety. That way we make sure the chair always stays forward. They won't tip backwards. Yep. And there we go. Bring it forward. There we go. Yep. And you're going to bring your arm all the way around. Yep. There we go. Perfect. Very good. So those are the basic elements we're going to use. So if we were to do something like, let's say, we'll do push-pull. So as the standing partner, what we're going to do is our steps, we're just going to do like a little rock step backwards. And then replace the weight, and then march in place. So we're going to do left foot back, replace the weight, and then march in place. And then left foot back, and we're going to rinse and repeat. March, march, rock, step, march, march. There we go. Perfect. So that's all we're going to do as far as our steps goes. So we're going to get back to that hand hold we had before. And we're just going to send our partner backwards as you rock back away. And bring them forth as you march in place. going to do the same rock, step, march, march, send away. And we're going to extend the arms. Good. Now, as we do this, we can then bring the partner kind of to the other side of our body. Here. There you go. That's right. So we're going to stay in place, and we're just going to move our arms here. So we're going to keep our feet steady. Yep. So we're going to stay still. That way they're going to move around us. Okay. So we're going to bring the arms over here. Good. And then other way. Yes. Okay. So all while doing our steps. It's like rubbing your head and clear as mud. There we go. So one more time, nice and slow. We're going to go just in place first. March, march, rock, step, march. Good. And we're going to extend the arms to send the chair away from us. And then bring her towards us. And away, and towards. There we go. Away, and towards. And we're going to add a little bit of rotation. We're going to stay in place. And we're going to let them rotate either side. Does not matter which side. There we go. Rock, step, march, march. Fabulous. Nice job. Let's get it for Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Just as a little kind of quick intro and brief of how we would, kind of like a quick version of how we would kind of introduce paradancing for either able-bodied dancers who are interested in dancing with paradancers or paradancers learning to dance just in general with a partner. Our goal when we're trying to teach paradancing is try to get usage of the chair that they wouldn't normally experience. So the biggest obstacle is we're used to being independent. You can ask Martha. And we're trying to get them to rely on our partner as well as sit in their chair differently than how they would in everyday life. What this helps do is help kind of build muscles that haven't been used in a while, as well as working with a partner in ways, there we go. So something we kind of did in one of our recent events, we worked with a coach from the Philippines. His name is Janice, who is awesome. And something that we talked about was how to stay more forward in the chair. So not relying on the backrest as much, like we would do in everyday use. So instead, we're being here, staying nice and tall, working on our posture. And what this does is allow us to actually have more freedom and mobility than we would normally have if we were sitting more further back in the chair. So this is kind of a few things that we kind of incorporate, we work on. This comes over several lessons. This is not like a overnight thing. This is a whole new way of thinking about using a chair, thinking about using your body. And same goes for even the combi dancers who dance with the person in the chair is how do you share your weight with someone? So there's a lot of new skills that we don't often think about that we use, or parts of our body that we don't often use that we're trying to introduce into working with a paradancer. All right. And then we'll head our way back to the table. From microphone 1 to microphone 2. Real quick, we have a quick video for you guys. This is a new segment from, I believe, our competition last year that we went to. It was the United States first para-dance sport competition that was held in Michigan. We're all going again this year in July. But we just kind of show you guys what the experience was for a lot of first-time dancers in Michigan.
The first ever national wheelchair ballroom competition took place today in Bloomfield Hills. More than 20 wheelchair ballroom dancers from across the country performed today inside the Roper School. Friends, families came out for the special event. The groundbreaking program, Dance Mobility, was actually created nearly 7 years ago and is Michigan's only wheelchair and amputee ballroom dancing program for children and adults with physical disabilities.
So now that you got to see Eve and I, we were the only two from Wisconsin that got to go last year. And mind you, that's the first ever one that's happened in the U.S., period. So that's a first, that's a history part there. So it was really special to be part of that and to go back again this year. And really know what we're getting into. It was an incredible room to be in. As a pair dancer, you usually go into a room with a lot of standing dancers and just typical. Maybe there's one, at different competitions that we go to locally. To be in a room that's completely focused on pair dancing is unique, empowering, and really gives you just a new appreciation for all the other dancers that are out there when you come together. And it's just really inspirational just to have that. One of the big parts that we brought up, though, was last year, since we just started, no one knew about us. But we had got a hold of Key Mobility, which is a wheelchair manufacturer in northern Wisconsin. And they came on us with a nice sponsorship to help us get there, because otherwise that wouldn't have been able to happen. Yeah, you can get, man, round of applause across the board. And the clip that you guys just watched, we had shared right after the competition. It got shared across the world among the pair dance community, like overseas and everything. So that it had over 20,000 views. So people just noticed that all of a sudden the United States has an awareness and has an opportunity for pair dancing. And that's even going to be built on next year when we're going to have some international pair dancers coming to Michigan for an event as well. Yeah. I know we're going through these a little fast. If we have any questions along the way here, we would love to take any. So if anything comes up from anybody, just raise your hand and let us know where we're at. These are pictures that we took. Oh, do we have one? Autumn? No?
Do you have I'm sorry, did you have a question?
No.
Just
Sorry.
ready.
Yeah. He's going to come with the, or do you want to use this one?
So has the Key Mobility, have they been able to adapt your wheelchairs at all for dancing?
That is a great question, because I do use my daily chair right now for dancing. They do make specialized dance wheelchairs. I can say a little bit about it. I'm going to let Arthur chime in on this too. They provide them for dancers. They're very specialized where the wheels are tilted. You have your whole seating position is really changed, because it's meant, like when I was up here, they're meant for you to sit up to see more of your back, but really still cater to your individualized needs. I don't have one yet because I'm trying to focus on different costs of surrounding dance, and because I can use my daily chair, that's what I use. Eve now does have a dance chair, and she didn't have one last year. The green one she had was actually made by Key Mobility, just a standard one though. But I'm going to let you go into this one, Arthur, just because of the uniqueness of the chair and what it feels like for a standing partner.
So as far as the difference between the dance chair and a normal chair, when most people come through our doors who are looking for wheelchair dancing, I have taught 4 different para dancers. Every person has a different disability. Every person has a different need. Every chair is different. Some chairs are a little bit easier to work with, especially if you're Eve and you're young. It's really easy to move a child around in a chair. Some folks have a little bit more of a hefty chair, which makes dancing a little bit more difficult. So we have to adapt and adjust how we can work around that. But when we get to a dancing chair, as far as the individual needs and concerns for the disability, as far as the standing dancer, I don't notice as much. Everyone kind of feels the exact same. The only thing we're working with as far as disabilities goes is if someone, and we had a bunch of examples when we were in Michigan last year, there were people who were amputees, there were people who had different mobility ranges, and that was the only thing that kind of affected it. As far as the chair goes, it made everyone kind of feel basically the same, which is kind of nice and made really, really easy to move, which we're kind of discovering with Oliver, who's one of my other students. He got a dance chair recently, and we're discovering how much more range of motion he has, just as far as what he can do, how fast he can turn now. We're taking one of the routines we did back in 2019 when he first started dancing with us, and we're revamping it entirely because of this whole new range of access to motion we have. Between that and this muscles he developed and built over the years, we're taking it back to Michigan this July, and we're going to perform it there with this kind of new adapted version of it.
Question here?
Yes.
Thank you for being here. This is very inspiring. We see the pair of dancers. There's a para dancer and an able dancer. Is there a category where there are two paradancers together?
Yes, actually for pair dancing, we have three categories. We have we call combi, which is a standing partner and a partner in a wheelchair. We have freestyle, which is just the wheelchair dancer by themselves. And then we have, I think just pairing is what it is. And it's just a wheelchair dancer with another wheelchair dancer. In the US, we haven't had any quite yet. But I know as far as international competitions, there's a few where we have a few where they have danced together, as well as with their standing partners or with their teachers as well. But we do have all three categories. And something else we're doing too for the first time, we just started it 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. We're doing the first wheelchair formation, which we have 3 wheelchair dancers, and they're doing basically a group number that we're working on that we are hoping to be able to present at Michigan as well. So it's just all wheelchair dancers on their own, kind of choreographed to a certain song, roughly about a minute and a half, minute 45 routine that we're also doing as well. Any other questions? Oh, one more, 2 more.
Hello, thank you for being here today. Dance is an athletic endeavor, so do you have to train or, practice differently to prepare for competition?
As far as dancing goes in general, kind of how my style of teaching is, I focus mostly on social dancing. That's kind of what we specialize at Fred Astaire. We offer competitions. So what we do is we focus more on the social side of dancing. So how can you dance with anybody in the room? And then how do we incorporate the competitive side, which is more so for me is I imagine you want to be able to dance with anybody in the world and feel comfortable and confident in doing it, but also imagine you want to look good while you're doing it. So that's where we add like the competitive nature. So as far as preparing goes, it's really up to the individual student how much you want to put into it. A lot of what I focus on, like I'll give students like routines and drills of things to do. They can do at home on their own. And then next time I see them, there are things that they developed, they worked on. I can tell they've been practicing and tell they've been working on it. And there's some students who they sort of practice. But it's okay. Again, it really comes down to what does an individual dancer want to do. And I'm actually going to let Martha and Autumn talk about that as well.
So I've been dancing for about 3 years, and over the course of that, I have a home routine where I do some, like a workout routine at home, focus on the different ways I need to sit, the different muscles that I don't normally use because I have a C6-7 spinal cord injury, which is why I use my wheelchair. But that also means like my standard feet sensation ends about here, but I do have 2 good arms, and I have some trunk control, but I don't get to work on that trunk control anywhere unless my hands are not doing anything except being in a dance position. So for me, there's a lot I get out of it. As far as practicing is concerned, that's part of the reason why I created Wheels and Heels, is because there is a challenge when typically someone who has a disability, and if they're on Social Security, affording them is difficult. And I'm trying to address that barrier as one of them so that people can actually practice as they need to in order to attend these competitions and to feel confident when they are performing.
And I'm getting used to this microphone. All right, so for me, I run Zoom classes, different workout classes, and occasionally Martha will attend, and she does her own type of she does the training that she needs for what she is doing. I'm sorry? She does her arm styling and the training that is necessary for her dancing. And now that I have re-entered the world, when I run my classes, I'm like, ooh, I could do this. And combine these 2 things. We eventually, Martha and I run in the same circles. You'll find out later, we share hats in a lot of ways. And so we will be doing things where my workout classes and what Martha is doing for dance, well, I'm horrible today. All right, my brain is all over. I'm just saying that everybody has different ways of training, and we help facilitate that either with ourselves or or with classes available on Zoom that are free as of now. I'm sorry? Yeah, Zoom has, the pandemic has really made things accessible for those of us who have a difficult time attending things in person. So, thank you.
I think there's one.
Hi, thank you for coming. Your performance is just it's an incredible thing. You've empowered yourselves, you've redefined dance, you've redefined disability, and you've done so much. My question is, can you apply this to younger people, some of which might be mentally compromised and can't handle a wheelchair? And can you extend it to older people who, there are a lot of them in wheelchairs, and even if you do a little bit with them, you might get somewhere? Thank you.
Absolutely. One of the things that actually what drew me to actually moving to Wisconsin, I moved here about 5 years ago from Virginia. To work at Fred Astaire was, what I really liked about the environment was it was very much like a dance family, and it was very much programs were designed for the individual students' needs. So we have people who are here for multiple different reasons. We have younger students, we have older students, we have students in the middle of the road, we have people getting married, we have people in wheelchairs, we have, actually just a couple weeks ago, we had a group class for kids who have Down syndrome that Miss Alexis taught in our studio. It was about 13 to 15 kids who came, and they did it for about 3 weeks, and they liked it so much they're already setting up to do like another set of 5 or 6 less group classes. So dancing is for anybody. Anybody can learn to dance. Everyone can get something out of it besides, obviously dancing is fun, but there's a lot of benefits that go into dancing that anyone can get something from. Doesn't matter how old you are, what your situation is, everyone can do it.
I'm really glad you brought that up because a lot of the dancers that we typically see sometimes are ones that have a lot of physical, there's a lot of strength in there. And I'm looking at Christina from Arts for All across the room right now because we just started working together because people with developmental disabilities can definitely participate as well. It just takes patience and creative and working together, and it's really a way to expand not only how the person who's doing the adaptive part of the dance is thinking, but it gives the person who maybe has those cognitive or developmental disabilities, it gives them a different way to focus on what they're doing and to feel really good about it. So even if they're just practicing in the studio or we're having some fun doing a performance, it's a place of joy. And we actually got someone that Christina and this family participates in Arts for All programming. We just had a studio to start at the Madison West Fred Astaire. I've gone down and watched her, and it's incredible because she can be a pair dancer or she can be a standing partner. She can do either or. But her mom often comes along for sign language, and it's just incredible watching her there. And she just loves to dance, and that's exactly why they got a hold of us through Wheels and Heels, and we just started connecting all the dots. And she's going to start doing some performances when we get invited to come to different places. So, yeah.
I would say I'm a good example of I have MS. It's a progressive disease, and sometimes it can affect me cognitively. Today I'm experiencing heat impairs my cognition, and so sometimes I am sharp as a tack. Other times, no, not at all. I'm showing my cards a little bit here today. So I sometimes with routines, I don't recall what the routine is. Processing sometimes can be difficult for me, so when I get an instruction, it can be difficult for me. But that's where the instructors come in, and they are very good at working with people with varying abilities, both physical and cognitive. So it is an excellent question. It really is. Dance is for everyone.
Yes, I have a question. Can you move the wheelchairs to the beat of music? How do you do with music?
Absolutely. Actually, something we're going to show you guys a little bit later actually is one of our numbers. We do once a year in Fred Astaire in Wisconsin. We have 11 studios in Fred Astaire throughout the state. We gather together to do a massive dance concert, what we call Dance Fantasy. We have over 180 student numbers we do in the show over the course of 3 shows over 2 days. And we all meet in the Brookfield Sherilyn Wilson Center, the big theater there. Students from Madison, Pleasant Prairie, all the way to Appleton, and most of the Milwaukee Central area come together, and we put on this massive show. And it's mostly to showcase the students and things that they do. This is their hobby, and we want to highlight to people who just come to watch it what dancing can do for people. And our goal is, we call it Dance Fantasy because our goal is to make things that I've yet to meet a student where I show them this crazy choreography number we could put together, and they go, "Oh yeah, I can totally do that." Because every year is to try to challenge somebody. Another example is I actually had a student who was diagnosed with MS for 30 years. She unfortunately they moved to Minnesota recently. But one of the greatest joys I had as her teacher was every time we would go to compete, do a competition or something, and she would get off the floor, the judges would come over and be like, "Oh, you did really well." And I'm and she's like, "Yeah, I have MS kind of thing. I stumbled a little bit." And they go, "Oh, you do?" They had no idea that she had any kind of disability. And something that we're going to kind of show is one of those numbers that we did back in 2021, I think is when we finally had the Dance Fantasy. It was the pandemic year, so. We finally had the show, so it's a number that we kind of taken. We actually even adapted it from what we had before then, because then we had 2 teachers on the number. But one of our other teachers, he's looking to move into more of a management position, so he's currently, he's on tour and doing a bunch of interviews right now. So we've taken that number and adapted to being just the 2 of us that we're going to show you a little bit later today.
Hi, my question is really more of a statement. I'm from Arts for All Wisconsin, formerly known as VSA, or Very Special Arts, and over the last 38 years, we have done dance programming for people with disabilities throughout the state, but not in recent years. So I just wanted to say thank you to Autumn and Martha for renewing our commitment to dance as one of the art forms that we will be working in going forward, and how important it is for opportunities like this for all of us to see what's possible and the effects that it has on individuals. And I don't know about you, but I'm picturing dancing with my grandma when she was using a walker while she was alive, and how I wish that I would have known techniques to use so that we could have enjoyed more wedding receptions together and could have gotten her out on the dance floor. So thank you for being here today. And I wonder, as someone who also knows a thing or two about fundraising for the arts, if there are specific things that potential donors should know about that maybe could sway someone to invest in dance.
Christina, thank you so much. I love all the work you do as well, which is why it's going to be a great and magical future. Things that we're working on right now, Wheels and Heels is kind of focused on a lot of different levels for fundraising, because that's how we get to competitions. But the big one is also about where are people practicing. It's hard to practice in a small house when you have a wheelchair or a different type of mobility device. Christina and I are also connected through the My Arts building, which is that new building downtown that hosts a lot of dance studios. And we're looking to have a space there and to work together there specifically to do several different dance disciplines. It's going to be open to the public, and it's going to be free for people to come to once we get this going. And I'm going to be there every single time as a peer mentor, coach, and kind of either we'll run something that's more specific if people are not working on anything at the studio that's more routine-based, or we'll kind of focus on different skill building depending on who comes. I think that also kind of correlates back to who can participate. Well, this is for everybody, because we're also working with some of the colleges to bring in students for our volunteers who are in PT programs, dance programs, or OT programs, so they know what's out in the community. And actually for next year, MATC is one of the therapy instructors has required her students to come to our space there once we get everything coordinated. So they actually have a full session of how to learn how to dance with someone who's using a mobility device or a wheelchair. Oh, thank you, Christina. Oh. Which way? Since we are in a wrap-up time here, and we talk a lot, we're going to just, I think these are all going to be available afterwards. I'm not sure, Jane. Okay. To kind of go through, Disability Pride Madison is something that happens every single year in Madison. It's coming up in July. Last year, we had one pair dancer there doing a solo routine, and we had a booth. This year, we're going to have 2. I'll be there as well. I actually have a solo piece now. But the whole festival in and of itself is really centered around people with disabilities, from all the performances to the sports and anything else in between. So we really hope to see anybody down there to kind of check it out and just kind of immerse yourself in all the goodness that comes to the table. And then we also hosted Miss Wheelchair Wisconsin event at the Brookfield Studio last year. We kind of intercombined, and that's actually the place that Autumn and I, we are co-state coordinators for Miss Wheelchair Wisconsin. And we did a dance demo there. We had we did routines, and on the bottom you'll see Ernie, who is a Fred Astaire pro, dancing with Eve. And then I did my first solo at there as well. So all of this, the links actually direct you right to it, so you could actually watch some of these pieces. And that was a great way to connect the two. This is the My Arts building that we're just referencing. We did a lot of connections down there, and the Madison West FAD Studio is also available to anybody, with a lot of great pros down there that could do adaptive dance. Okay.
And then something else we have coming up too is international competitions that we are working towards to kind of get more U.S. dancers. Something that we're doing here is we are kind of pioneering a first U.S. syllabus with Fred Astaire, so we can have a international or a syllabus set for our standard set of dance patterns we can teach to wheelchair dancers to kind of across the board. Because right now, as far as teachers goes, we have to kind of adapt things on our own to make it work with wheelchair dancers. So one of the things is actually Miss Eve. She just came back she did Holland, and then she was in Malta representing the U.S., as well as Miss Cheryl, who is from the Michigan studio. And something kind of we're looking forward to in the future kind of thing, like long-term goals. We just recently got ballroom dance approved for the Olympic Committee, and so we're hoping to be able to have ballroom dancing approved for paradancing as well, particularly when we host in 2028 in LA. That'll be awesome. To have some U.S. dancers, and we're hosting the first international competition next year in America. So.
And with that, see how talented I am. I can move and talk in a microphone. Wow. Martha and Arthur are going to show us their routine that they actually did at the My Arts for All. I apologize, I forget the name of the awards. Christina, I know you know it. The Creative Power Awards, yes. Take it away, Martha and Arthur. Actually, you guys want me to just talk until the music starts? All right, so which button am I touching? The play button? All right.
In his eyes I can see where my heart longs to be. In his eyes I see a gentle glow, and that's where I'll be safe, I know. Close to his heart, but I don't know quite where to start. was forgiving for. Now I realize everything worth living for is there in his eyes. Love is worth forgiving for. Everything worth living for is there in his
Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being here and sharing your talent with us. Very much appreciated. Wasn't that great? And our thanks to the program committee for another really wonderful program. Just bear with me one minute. She will never put it in the program, but our executive director, Pat Jenkins. Pat, could you come in here? Pat, could you come in here? Pat is not going to be here next week. She's going on a very well-deserved vacation to Italy. But her birthday is May 30th. So could we maybe sing her happy birthday? Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pat. Happy birthday to you. And have a great trip. Thank you, everyone. Please come next week for the Rotary Scholarship Luncheon. You won't want to miss that. We're going to be announcing 2 new funds for Rotary Scholarships. So we hope to all see you. And remember, you can pick up at the back table if you'd like to volunteer for the Way Forward Resources event. Thank you all. We are adjourned.